So, can you share like a practical example of how somebody journeying with a chronic illness, let's say diabetes, how that affected their mental health long term?
Well, diabetes is a long term disease. We don't get rid of it. We might take care of it in such a way that it doesn't seem like it's much of a problem, especially to those on the outside. But the chronicity of the disease, and this goes the same with heart disease or some of the other maybe conditions that we might have, they all affect us in those long term ways. They're very wearing, they're time consuming, they're often include treatment plans that maybe aren't exactly what we might want to do. And then, especially with diabetes, maybe heart disease too, or hypertension, but we have that stigma that comes along with it. Like, well, maybe it's my fault that I have it. Maybe I'm not active enough. Maybe I don't exercise. Maybe I'm too overweight. Maybe my eating habits are poor. Did I cause this? And that can put a tremendous amount of strain on our ability to emotionally handle the disease and move forward.
And I think of when you say that, I think of how people cope with really difficult things like um, personal trauma, um vicarious trauma, generational trauma. And sometimes, a lot of times, people reach out to different things. So, like substances, to food, um, to different um, compulsive behaviors, um, which eating can become a compulsive behaviors. And I know that if somebody is a diabetic and they're experiencing a trauma, whether it's because of something on the news or something very close and personal in their life, there may be a temptation to cope by eating.
Yeah, we've
And
long realized that there's a especially eating, but sometimes drinking, or maybe even just slouching on the couch. They're all coping behaviors for something else that's going on. And
can
yeah,
you kind of
those.
share a little bit about like coping behaviors then? Unhealthy coping behaviors that would affect, like, let's say, diabetes.
Yeah, well, diabetes in particular, it kind of pervades every aspect of your life. But just stress alone with diabetes can make blood sugars much more hard to manage because of all of the different stress hormones that are released. It can
Hmm.
make us more insulin resistant. Sometimes it can cause higher blood sugars. Sometimes that stress can cause lower blood sugars because of the anxiety component that goes along with that. But truly, that feeling of just not being able to get off the couch and move certainly can impact diabetes complications and just general well-being. Of course, the eating. A lot of us eat out of
Yeah.
stress.
I love eating, so I'm not gonna ever get on somebody about eating, but I know as a diabetic myself that I have to be careful when I'm in my emotions.
Yes. Yes, because that's a very soothing way to make ourselves feel better. Um, and we all have those comfort foods that kind of just, make us minus cinnamon toast. That's what I always want when I'm upset or just trying to mull through things. But alcohol use also is a big, or other substances, though, or smoking even, those things all do not really promote good health. In moderation, they might be acceptable, but generally speaking, when we are very stressed, worried, anxious, whatever terminology you want to use, those behaviors are not in moderation. Those tend to, we keep self medicating, if you will, to make ourselves feel better or make ourselves not feel at all.
Right.